if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted, would you capture it or just let it slip?
To seize everything.
And you can't do this to me right now. You know exactly what I'm fucking talking about.
What? To have everything you ever wanted in one moment?
Guys. Hi, and welcome back to our editor for having to play with chaotic sound. Usually we do a slapstick clap for him or something.
We do a slapstick. I punch Sarah. I fake punch Sarah. And she goes against the wall. And that's how he knows.
That's the sound cue. Yeah. But we didn't do that with this episode. But hi, welcome to this functional duo.
Starring me.
Oh, shit.
Oh my god.
What are you, Mariah Carey?
Yes. Also, your cat tweaked the fuck out. And it scared me.
He's a tweaker.
He's a tweaker.
When he has a mouse, all bets are off.
Honestly, same.
He is the hunter, and we are merely just witnessing his spectacularity.
His spectacularity.
I just recently thought about that. I was like, this is kind of a sad thought. Hi, welcome back to this functional duo. But honestly, when Phineas dies, I don't know if I'll ever find another cat like him.
No, you won't. That's what makes him special.
He's such a one. I've had a lot of cats in my life, and all the cats I've had have their own unique personality, their own unique thing, but they all felt similar. You know what I mean? In their kind of behaviors. Phineas is the first one who is a one of a kind.
I've been around a lot of cats, especially as recently, and there's no other cat like him.
But I would also care to wager that he's the first cat that I've owned.
Yes.
So I wonder if it's because of how I've nurtured him that he's to a certain degree become that. You know what I mean? I don't think he was a cuddly cat when I met him, but I made him a cuddly cat.
Probably.
His talking and his upbeat behavior definitely are him though. That's just who he's always been. Day one when we got him, he was like that. I remember before we even met Phineas, I told my friend who was getting Phineas for me, he had found these kittens on a farm that he was going to do a job at, and these cats needed a home, and so he called me and was like, do you want a cat? And I was on the phone with him, and a cat was fucking meowing over and over and over. And I was like, what cat is that? And he's like, that's one of the cats that need a home. And I'm like, I want that cat. Before he even sent me the picture.
Divine intervention.
Yeah.
He literally said, Mommy, I'm right here.
Come,
bring me home.
Yeah. And then when I got the photo and he was like, this is your cat, I'm like, he's fucking cute.
He's so cute. His big eyes. His eyes are maybe a little too close together. There's some but it's so cute. There's
he goes a little cross-eyed.
Yeah.
That's the issue. And he's a Siamese lynx point snowshoe, which is a very specific breed and quite he was free, but he would be an expensive breed if we sold him. And they actually say on the internet, don't let these cats be outdoor cats because they're so cute that people actually will take them.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Taking a cat for fun, for shits and giggles.
Because he's so cute. Yeah. And he looks like a cat that wouldn't he would be out on the street. You know what I mean? Not necessarily outdoor.
He does not look like a street cat.
You're not a street cat.
He's a princess.
Yeah, he is a bit of, and that's my fault. I'm the problem with that.
No.
Hi, welcome back to this functional duo. I'm the problem.
I'm the problem. Okay.
Anyone who watched last week's episode, Spencer had started talking about just kind of the process of the internet and computers and technology, I would say, how technology really started in the 1800s and how it kind of transitioned into what it is now. We stopped at the 2000s and kind of like our era as being kids and like what the internet was for at least us, which was just happiness and nothing bad. Although I have a funny story for you that I'll tell you, that actually will lead into this really well, into what I'm assuming your next few topics will be. But this is part 2 of Spencer's research journey of like the internet and just honestly how quickly it morphed into the chaos that it is now. But I have a funny story. So we were talking about before, like the first time that we started using the computer, it wasn't for the internet because the internet hadn't really existed at that point.
Yeah.
And if you did, it was dial up. So it was a fucking pain.
If someone used the phone, you couldn't use the internet.
Yeah.
Like the home phone.
And it would make a horrible noise when you were waiting for it to dial
awful.
up. Like it was not good. But the first time I ever, and this feels full circle because now we're posting on YouTube, the first time I ever went on YouTube. So, okay, I'm going to backtrack. For all my Canadian kids, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyone outside of Canada, you probably know what I'm talking about, but not in the same way. But one of the channels that you watched on TV was called Teletoon.
Yes.
And on Teletoon, in between shows, they would have like advertisements. But one of the advertisements that they sometimes did were music videos. And it depended on the music video. There was one that was like a hippo, or no, she was like a sheep. And then there was 3 sheep behind her. And she was singing, like she was doing like a little yodel. And then the sheep were trying to like kill each other in the background.
What the fuck?
I'll show it. I actually might not be able to find it because it's like, it's now
It's in the
a
archives,
relic in the internet. But it's like a sheep and she's like kind of like dressed like Dolly Parton. And then there's 3 sheep behind her and they're like dancing. And then they start trying to like take each other out. Cartoon was like styled just like another music video, which was Crazy Frog.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Crazy Frog, first time I was ever introduced to him, he was running away from a robot on like a racetrack.
Yeah.
And it was like the do 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 do. Bing, bing.
Yeah, whatever.
So, and then Crazy Frog had a few others, like We Are the Champions was one of them, where he was in a soccer field.
Yeah.
But it was like him not singing, it was him making like these noises. That was the whole song. Anyways, that initial song that I just sang was the first time I ever saw Crazy Frog. And I immediately was hooked on this music video. Like I was obsessed. I think I had like burned, because you used to be able to burn songs onto CDs before, like, or if you had an MP3 player, but it was kind of in between where you would still burn a disc, but you could have an MP3 player at the same time, but you would burn discs for your friends so they could listen to music. This was before you could just share a link on Spotify. And I had a CD dedicated to Crazy Frog.
That's wild.
I used to have a book full of my CDs that had CDs that my dad burned for me that were on his iTunes that I then can listen on my stereo. Ones that like my friends made. I had a burned CD that this boy that I really cared about when I was younger, he burned me a CD as like a gift.
Really?
Like to tell him that like it was like a I like you gift. And I kept that CD. He's no longer with us. He unfortunately passed away, but I kept that CD after he passed away, and it was like one thing that I had that was his, but I don't know where any of those CDs went.
It's probably at your parents' house.
No, because all my stuff is gone now. Like all my stuff is here.
Oh shit.
So I have no idea. I think it just like, it's like Halloween Town, where there was that house in Halloween Town where everyone's lost stuff would end up.
Yeah.
I think that's where my CDs are.
Probably.
Is in his house.
Wild.
Yeah. So I went onto the internet for the first time, and I was downstairs. My parents were upstairs, and I went onto YouTube and I went to go watch the Crazy Frog music video.
His little pee-pee's out in that video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
And then the internet started suggesting videos, and it was like just Crazy Frog videos. This was before, like, now the algorithm can determine what you would like. Like, it was before that. It was like, if you look this up, we'll suggest this video to you. Anyways, I clicked on this video that looked like Crazy Frog, but it was somebody who had created Crazy Frog, and he took himself out with a firearm. And I was like 8 years old.
You were on, and this is on YouTube.
Yeah, and he brought it to his head and took himself out. That's the most. appropriate way I can explain that, but the details of it are important because it scared the shit out of me when it happened.
Yeah.
And I turned off the computer and I didn't go back on YouTube for like 4 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't either.
I hated it. And the next time I went on YouTube, it was like PewDiePie was out and I was watching like Michelle Phan and her makeup videos.
So it was
like
wild.
that stage of YouTube. But I was, and like in Smosh and Ryan Higa and stuff like that. But I was terrified by that video, that it scared me away from the internet, specifically YouTube, for quite a while. Isn't that funny?
That's not funny. That's actually fucking horrible.
But like now it's like there's so many oversaturated videos that you can come across and you could be like, what the fuck did I just watch? And that was like my first experience of it, and I was a kid.
That's terrifying.
Excuse you.
But that's very much like kind of why I have such an interest in like the internet, and why I consider it almost like it's like alternative world, is because like day-to-day life, your Monday, every day, like you're very not likely.
Sorry, I'm listening to you, but my cat is literally losing his shit in the middle with his mouse. I don't think my camera's catching him, and I don't think your camera's catching him.
So we just look like
so all you're hearing is like a and it's him playing with his mouse.
Okay, bro, back up. What was I saying?
You were talking about how the internet fascinates you.
Oh yeah, so the internet fascinates me because it feels like it's cyberspace, but it does feel like an alternate universe where it's like my day-to-day life. The likeliness of me watching someone die, especially in such a traumatic way, is very low.
Yeah,
surprisingly.
Yeah.
But like I can log on to like even Instagram and like scroll through a couple videos, and there's like a tragic car accident just like right there in my face.
Yeah, I would say the doom scrolling. I feel like somebody said it recently in a really profound way. I think it was Cody. I can't remember his last name.
Cody Ko.
Cody Ko. Yeah. Shout out to Cody Ko. Cody Ko's from Calgary.
He is. Calgary.
Every time I watch him, I'm like, fuck yeah, represent the Calgary.
Right.
I think his parents still live in Calgary, but he obviously lives with his wife and his newborn baby in California. I watch his podcast, which is insanely chill. But he was talking about it at some point in his podcast, and he was explaining how like you go down this cycle with doom scrolling where you get serotonin, and then you get an immediate drop when you watch shit. The amount of times, and it's not all the time, and I mean, I could probably count on like both hands maybe how many times it's really made an impact on me, but the amount of times that I'll just be doom scrolling and I'll come across a video and it makes me like I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it's always like a car accident or like, you know, animal harm or something like that, where I'm like, this is fucking horrible. Why would anybody want to fucking film this? And it's just like, it's for the sake of views rather than anything else. So
yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's this concept of like numbers are determining our worth to whatever degree. And views is a huge one of those, right? Like, how many views do you get? Bad or good, like publicity is publicity.
Yeah, I think they have like it's like I think there's a term for it now, but I can't remember what it is. It's basically just like saying raunchy shit or ratchet shit or just like the most horrible shit you can say for the sake of like saying it, and people are going to respond.
Well, like, people will say things to, like, piss people off so that the trolls do fucking lose their shit. Like, there's a girl on Instagram right now who is fucking famous with the men. And she did a video.
She was Pearl?
Pearl?
Okay, it's not Pearl.
I don't know her name. I haven't actually ever... I don't think I've fully seen the video, but it's been on my Instagram, and I was watching, sometimes married couples will understand this. I mean, and all couples, like specifically living together. My husband was watching Instagram, and so I turned off my phone and I just laid next to him and watched his Instagram videos with him.
Yeah.
And we didn't say anything. We just laughed at some videos, whatever. But the clip came up on his phone, and he was telling me about this, that this guy was interviewing this girl, and I think he was asking her, like, what is your, like, move in bed? Like, what's your big move that blow men away? And she's like, you got to do a hak tuh on his junk.
Definitely not Pearl.
You gotta This is not Pearl.
This is not Pearl. She's a virgin, I'm pretty sure.
And like she basically was like, you gotta spit on it. And hakte is what she did. Hakte.
That's mucus. That's not even spit.
Yeah. And men were losing their shit. I think Leo told me that Conor McGregor came on the internet and said, where is this woman? I have to find her.
Wait, like, I like it?
Oh, yeah.
Ew.
But it's like raunchy, gross stuff, but men are like, fuck yeah. And it's just like, she's famous now. She's like,
for just saying that.
She's like the new next thing this week. And it's like, if you just say the right thing all of a sudden, or the wrong thing, all of a sudden you're now the big thing, but you're only the next big thing until the next big thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can't remember. There was a YouTuber that brought it up that I can't remember who it was, but they basically said that there's no such thing as being viral anymore.
No.
It's not really, that's not a concept, because you can get 20 million likes on a TikTok overnight.
And then become irrelevant the next day.
But then like nobody cares. Like a lot of it's just like, again, it's doom scrolling.
Whereas before, this process started with Vine.
Yeah.
And Vine, you could develop a certain amount of clout or like respect with your viewers, and you could have them come back to you. There's a lot of content creators now who started off on Vine, and when Vine, rest in peace Vine, I fucking loved Vine. Vine was the most wholesome platform.
Vine was probably the funniest.
And it was the funniest, and I don't know why the magic of Vine developed. I don't know what happened. I don't necessarily even know why it was closed down, like what happened. And maybe it's a magical thing solely because it didn't have enough time to become a negative thing.
I think so. Yeah.
But, Phineas, I swear to God, boy, if you knock over a light,
you're dead.
Murder. I can't play with you right now. His nose is so pink. It's like these content creators are now still content creating, but they're approaching it in a different way. So a lot of them are kind of just fucking vibing. Like they're just here. A lot of them are streamers. A lot of them are just kind of, they found their community and they're just like, I'm cool. Yeah, they don't try to like expand themselves. And I have a lot of respect for that, because I think those people can understand. I mean, mind you, you do have the people who kind of tried to make multi-million titles of themselves. The Paul brothers are a huge example of that. They started off on Vine.
Yeah.
And they were a huge deal. And then they went to YouTube and they were growing in mass popularity, like by the minute.
Yeah.
And then they just took it too fucking far.
Well, one of them for sure.
No, both of them.
Both of them for sure did.
Both of them in different ways. One of them for sure took it for, like, I mean, if we're talking about who made it worse,
yeah,
you could definitely think about who specifically that was. But both of them took it too far, and they created this persona and this negative community, and like Jake was living in the Team 10 house, and the shit that happened in Team 10 that people come out and talk about. Like, it's just, you can take it too far, but then there's the people who didn't. And then there's the people who were famous on Vine and then they just ceased to exist. Like there's people that I'll see and I'm like, holy shit, whatever happened to you? Like, where did you go?
I think a lot of them were chased off the internet, which, I mean, I think like even the Paul brothers now are kind of like, they're still around. They're just in their own zone.
I just saw a video recently. Sorry, I was just checking the time. I saw a video recently that what's Jake's brother's name?
Logan.
Logan is having a baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
His like wife is pregnant, and they did a video guessing what the gender would be. And like for a minute, I like had a really weird brain glitch, because I was like, this person who so many years ago, not really that many years ago, but a handful of years ago, was like the most popular, and then a few years later became one of the most hated people on the internet.
Yeah. For
him to like continue living his life and be a father and like keep going on, I was like, the internet is crazy. Like, he's just going to continue to live his fucking life.
Exactly.
I hope he learned from his choices, but ultimately it's not my decision whether, like, how I feel about it doesn't really fucking matter
No.
to him, right?
Who are you?
Who am I? Just like anybody else on the internet. Who the fuck are you to give your opinion when maybe it doesn't apply? Like, you know, I have my own kind of thoughts about it, but really it's neither here nor there. But he's just living his life and he's just continuing on to be a dad. Like, it's just crazy to see these people. Ryan Higa, I think, is a really good example of that too. He's still making content. He's mainly streaming, and I think he has a podcast. But you have these people who were going hard for years, like boom, 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 firing out videos. And then 20 years later, they're YouTube veterans. And they're coming out and they're going...
Veterans is so real, yeah.
And they're coming out and they're like, I'm just here to fucking vibe.
Yeah, they're just...
I don't need to make millions upon millions of dollars, even though I'm sure they're quite well off. Mm-hmm. A lot of them have moved out of California.
I would.
A lot of them left LA because they couldn't take the negativity that was developing in the community.
I feel like that's a whole nother topic that we could probably get into at some point. I feel like there is a lot within LA specifically as influencer.
Well, and you went to LA.
Celebrity. I wasn't an influencer though.
No, but you got to see it firsthand.
Yeah, I'm always not what it's cracked up to be, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there's a lot of toxicity, which kind of like your point of like kind of Logan or at least the Paul brothers, just as examples. I have I'm neutral about them. And my sort of research comes from like the standpoint of a viewer, because even though I do this, I don't think we've gained enough traction for me to consider myself.
We're still nobodies over here.
And I'm like, okay with that.
Even if we had multi-million whatever views, we're still nobodies.
We're still nobodies.
And I'm cool with that.
But I think you might have a better perspective on like the influencer creator side of it, whereas I kind of still consider myself more of a viewer. But one thing about the internet I find very fascinating is the anonymousness of it, if that's a word. The anonymous, especially the haters.
Anonymity? Is that
anonymity.
A word? Is that a word?
Yes, anonymity.
I'm so smart.
And like,
that's it. That's all I got for 30 days.
Yeah, she's round of applause, everybody.
I used my last brain cell for that one.
She did
Catch
a good
you in 30
job.
days for another smart suggestion.
Give her a gold star later.
Thank you.
A button.
Aw.
But it's kind of like emerged this idea of like you can log on, you're Bill from Idaho, but you're actually user like 3.05.
Yeah.
And you can say and do basically whatever
I don't even think my usernames, even though, you know, now all my social media is being utilized in terms of business, right? I don't have a private personal Instagram. My Instagram is solely for my Twitch and like my content creation. Now I post personal stuff. I post photos about myself, things about my life, but really it's promoting something. That's kind of what I've been using my platforms for. I don't really have a platform that is like just me living my life. Right. You know what I mean? And even my name is not my name.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
I'm even, you know, Sarah from the block, but I'm hibbity-a-hoppity hoobla on the internet. Like, even me, I don't have my real name on the internet.
And I think most people, it's actually very common, especially a lot of people have like a personal and then like a burner account where they just greet people. But it's I
do that in the open.
Yeah, I actively just creep you. If you see me, I'm just creeping. But I wouldn't consider myself a hater, but in 2014, a survey conducted by YouGov established that 28% of Americans admitted to leaving malice comments on videos or pictures.
What percentage?
28% of Americans admitted to hating on other people that they do not know.
That's for sure a low amount. There's a lot of more people who didn't confess to it.
I agree. I
don't know if I've ever left a negative comment on anyone's video.
I agree. So
I've thought things, and I think I've even disliked things. Like I've thumbs it down, but I don't know if I've ever left a negative comment.
I agree. I will get. So I found a research paper based on this that I will get into.
Okay.
But I was kind of researching this. I kind of agree. I'm always been like a viewer, but I'm a very passive viewer. If I like your video,
I'm like that too.
I will like it. I've never really commented.
I don't even know if I often like videos that I'll come back to a million times over. I don't know if I've actually liked.
Honestly,
like I'm a lurker on the internet.
I guess me too. I'm very much like I don't comment. Sometimes I will like comments because the comments sometimes are funnier than the actual video.
I think I've liked a comment, yeah.
But like, I'm not leaving comments. I'm not like, I'll subscribe. That's probably as good as it will get.
Yeah.
Like, I'll subscribe if I really like you, or like, I don't even think I follow people on TikTok, or it's an accident. I just accidentally pressed like the plus button.
I follow a few people, like 20 people or so.
Right.
I try to keep my followings down to the bare minimum solely because it stresses me out having so many people that I follow.
I just don't
like. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but like even my Instagram. Granted, my Instagram it's my professional Instagram, right? I use it as a certain sense of promotion. I was having a conversation with a coworker about this recently because she was like, you know, you don't follow anybody, and I was like, I know, and it's not because I don't. It's nothing personal. The fact that people would take it personal blows my mind a little bit. That it's like a personal criticism. I like you as a person. And if I have your number in my phone, I mentioned this in a previous video. If you have something you want to say about me, then call me. And if you don't have my number, you don't know me well enough to call me. And so the people that I am close with and that I respect and I appreciate, I have your fucking number. So then I'm like, we're good. Like I appreciate if your number's in my phone, that's like, for me, that's a big thing. Cause I don't know if it's ADHD or what, but having too many things in any kind of section, too many contacts that maybe I no longer talk to, I'll delete those numbers because it overwhelms me to have so many things just there. Like I want to be able to just see the names that I need and like, boom, I don't want to like go through. I used to have like 200 contacts in my phone.
Same.
And scared that stressed me out. Instagram's the same. All those stories just waiting to be tapped on, it stresses me out. So to a certain degree, I just don't follow. I think I follow like 4 people on Instagram. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's not a self-targeted directed thing literally at all. I don't feel any kind of like negativity. And by being like, I don't follow you, like I have no hurtful intention behind it at all. It's more so like my brain, Phineas, please. My brain can't brain any longer. And so like
it's overwhelming. I had an ex-boyfriend who actually, him and his mom.
one
of my ex-boyfriends that
I had an ex-boyfriend. He's dead now.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I'm just kidding. I think he's
I murdered him.
Yeah. I should have. Just kidding. No, but like I, to his face, said happy birthday. And both him and his mom kind of side-eyed me and like, well, why didn't you put a Facebook and this was years ago.
Stop.
But no joke, they were like, why didn't you make a Facebook post? And I was like, I'm right here. Happy birthday. I have a gift for you. Like, you need a Facebook post for like validation.
Yeah.
That like, yes, your birthday means something.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's concepts like that I'm just like, that's so fucking wild. And we can get into that once we hit like the parasocial relationships, because I think that kind of
it ties into, yeah.
But it's just how people act online or expect you to act online is like so overwhelming
and unobtainable. I would say like, we were talking about this, but like I'm not a high level content creator. I'm still an amateur and I'm still learning, but it's unobtainable to meet anybody's standards.
And you can't.
So just do you. I've always come from the concept that as long as you're not harming people, as long as you're coming from an honest heart and you're being kind, always be nice, then do you, man. Then live your life and be who you want to be. And don't change who you are for anybody. If people are coming, friendships, whatever, online persona, like what online profiles, how you represent, if I'm having a conversation with you in person, I should be the exact same person on the internet.
I agree.
And if you're coming, especially for like me when I'm like streaming and stuff, I think stream is a really good one because it's like I'm having an immediate one-on-one interaction with somebody. It's live. Those interactions are live. Anybody who's decided to follow me on Twitch, I hope it's an assumption, I've never asked, but I'm under the impression that they're there because they enjoy what I bring to the table. They enjoy being around me to a certain degree. And so I don't want you to follow me for any other reason than, hey, I like this person. I want to continue to see what they're about.
Yeah.
I'm not here to create. Do not look at me like that. He was looking like he was about to attack me. I don't want anyone to meet me online or whatever if a person that I've never met in person met me on Twitch and then met me in person, I hope that they would think that I'm the exact same person. Because I'm promoting myself.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's a sense of self-marketing. But yeah, the amount of times and the feedback and people like pushing their own ideas on me, it became... So here's the thing. So back when I first started streaming, I was like I was learning a lot. And, you know, I think a lot of people can say this, but a lot of people specifically who are content creators, Twitch streamers, there's a certain level of self-taught trial and error. You got to watch other people's videos and see how you approach it. How do you stream? How do you get viewership? How do you what brings people in, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. And it's important. I would say it is important, but to a certain degree, because you want to learn the system, right? Because ultimately you want people to see what you're making. It's a sense of self-expression, but it can become very quickly you judge yourself if you're not doing that, if you're not approaching this thing. And it's like, I heard a lot of people say, like, when I first started streaming, they're like, you have to treat this like a job. And to a certain degree, yeah, you do. I can tell you, I love streaming. It's a hobby that I genuinely love. Mm-hmm. It's a hobby for me. But there are some days when I don't want to fucking stream. And I still stream. And then once I get into it, I'm like, fuck, that was super fun. I really enjoyed that. But it does feel like work, even if you love it. But if it becomes something that is just work and it's not fun, you've taken the fun out of it by trying to make something of yourself. I think it gets lost in translation. Mm-hmm. And so I found myself doing that. I found myself getting caught in the numbers and the viewerships, and I need to do more and I need to show up, and why aren't my numbers higher whereas this person started the same time I did and their numbers are huge? Like, why is this happening? And it's fair for, maybe I'm not doing the right things on stream. I can say that. Maybe I'm not a high quality streamer. I think I bring a certain amount of,
energy,
vibes.
Yeah.
But, maybe for a lot of people, the algorithm also plays into that, where like you don't get a lot of viewership if you're an amateur. Like they favor the higher numbers, right? But the people who do watch me enjoy watching me. And so when I came back into Twitch, I wanted to do it by not looking at the numbers, mm-hmm. but by playing the games that I want to play. Taking people's feedback, right? Like there's a game that I'm playing right now that somebody suggested for me to play, and I'm fucking loving it. And I would have never played that game on stream if I hadn't taken that person's suggestion, but ultimately I wanted to do it. Having a certain sense of ownership of myself and who I am brings me a sense of pride when people acknowledge it. If you're trying to change who you are to get that, then I never really found a sense of ownership to it, because it wasn't who I was.
Yeah.
I felt like I was an imposter to a certain degree. So when I came back to Twitch, because I had left feeling so frustrated and burnt out because I was trying to play this numbers game, when I came back, I said, I'm not going to do that. And I would say like my growth has been slow. And I'm a low end content creator. However, everyone who's there is a good person. And I have a strong community of people. And like, when I vibe with them. They're my friends to a certain degree.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's the only way you can approach it. And when I see YouTubers that I really love, I would say a really good example is Jenna Marbles.
I was going to bring her up later.
She's not, and we can talk about her, but because she falls into cancel culture very strongly. But she made something of herself. I think the beginning, and we can talk about this more, but I think at the beginning she was trying to be somebody that she wasn't.
Yeah.
And then she transitioned into the person that she was, and she just leaned into the shit she wanted to do. And all of a sudden, people loved her, and she developed a huge sense of community. And I always loved that she just kind of was fucking there, but she also never took herself too seriously. She knew that she was a nobody, and she was cool with that, even though she was a somebody on the internet.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Jenna Marbles. She never acted like it, because she knew that like she's just making fucking videos in her house. And for her to make the choice to walk away and live her life off the internet is an incredible example that she always felt like she had a certain sense of control in her decisions.
I agree.
She never felt like she needed to be a certain person to make a life for herself.
100%.
And I applaud her for that. I really do. And her husband, Julian, I watch him all the time, and he's a live streamer now. He's really kind of mainly turned into a live streamer. He used to do vlogs. He doesn't do that anymore. He did cooking videos. He still kind of does that, but really he's more strictly a live streamer now.
Yeah.
And the sense of community that he built for himself, especially after Jenna walked away, because to a certain degree, his audience was Jenna's audience. And then when Jenna left, his audience became his audience. The community that he's built is amazing, and he's just fucking there. He's just there he's a good person. You can see it in the way he interacts with people, the things that he speaks on. You know, he'll talk about things that are happening in the world. He's just himself. And anytime I watch other videos, he's always just him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's how you have to fucking do it. But it's a dance. You have to kind of make it to the end to understand that you had it at the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and like definitely will play into like sort of like after this, the next topic, which does play into parasocial relationships, both good and bad. But I guess to maybe put everybody who does want to be a content creator, or even you, at ease, I found a research paper. This is an academic.
I love being put at ease. Pop off, go.
Right?
Go,
this
go,
is
go.
an academic research paper. So they did a social experiment, so to speak. It's called Are Online Haters Psychopaths? Psychological Predictions of Online Hating Behavior.
Okay.
And it was written by a bunch of Polish people who have names, but this isn't an academic essay, so I didn't put them in because I'd butcher it. So basically, like, the premise of what they're trying to say is that there's a difference between hating and just being a hater.
Okay.
They use, like, as an example, like hate speech. So hate speech is used to undermine a group of people by expressing very negative and degrading opinions about them, which is obviously not Gucci. However, if it's like
very not Gucci.
Very not Gucci. So if it's directed at one person, it's not considered hate speech. It's just like you're hating that person.
Okay.
So to speak, hate speech is definitely a big part of like internet trolling.
Yes.
And they do kind of delve deeper into like the psychological part of that and like why people might do that. But the article identifies like hating is not so much an opinion, but a derogatory way of referring to people. So when you're hating, you're essentially like, those are the comments that are like, you look fat, what a dumb way to die. Like they probably deserved what they got.
Yeah.
You're so ugly. Like those, like they don't stem from anything. Not even like stereotypes. You're just being mean.
Yeah.
For the sake of just being mean.
Yeah.
So they did bring out how like previous scholars have done research on this. And it emphasizes on how internet trolls, cyberbullies, and people who do hate speech are profiled into different categories of like mental health issues,
for
so
sure.
to speak.
Yeah.
Now we have a fun part of the game. It's a game part. Hi, welcome to my game show called Guess the Mental Illness.
Oh shit.
So this is based off of previous like research before these Polish people did theirs. So I want you to guess. Either hate speech, internet trolls, and cyberbullies. We'll start with hate speech because it's the most like lame.
Okay.
What do you think? What predetermined mental inefficiency do you think people who do hate speech have?
You're setting me up to fail.
I mean, if you're going online and hate speeching, you kind of deserve it.
Are these like real, like, are these real mental? Are they like...
This one, no. This one's more so like maybe a product of environment. I'll give you a hint. Again, I said this one's the first one because it's kind of lame.
Hate speech?
Hate speech. Why would someone do hate speech?
Hate speech being what?
Like, this is just an example, not my opinion, but if I were to say like, I think all Asians are horrible at driving.
Is it racially targeted?
Not necessarily. It could be gender. It could be age.
But it's a demographic that they're attacking?
It's a group of people that you're attacking with a quote unquote opinion that's usually based in like nothing.
This is a mental health thing?
This one, not so much.
Okay. I mean, I would say like a lack of sense of belonging.
That's a pretty good guess.
Belonging to a community.
That's a pretty good guess. That does come in later, but essentially they were saying from previous research that people who do hate speech usually have different but common characteristics of aggressive behavior. So essentially, like if you come from a pretty broken or abusive home, you're more likely to do hate speech because you have anger. You're filled with anger.
I mean, 9 times out of we can continue with this game, this weird.
I love my game.
This weird board game, but I will say, and not my professional opinion because I am not a professional in any sense of therapy, but if you have the time to send any kind of negative feedback towards anybody in a really harmful manner, then to a certain degree, happy people don't shit on other people.
No, they don't.
That's just how it, if you're happy with your life, you will feel no need, even if you don't like somebody, you'll go, why will I waste my time dealing with this person when it doesn't make me happy?
And like this isn't your next door neighbor.
Yeah.
This isn't somebody at your school. This is just a person on TikTok.
Even if it is your person next door, if you don't like this person and you're like trying to make it known that you fucking hate this person, like why waste your time doing that when you can just continue being happy? So happy people don't shit on other people. Happy people make happy people.
Yes.
Sad people make sad people. Angry people make angry people.
Yes.
So to a certain degree, a sense of belonging in any kind of capacity is what boosts somebody's sense of happiness. So even if it's negativity, if you join the trolls, you feel like you belong to a community. When people agree with your negative comments, no matter how horrible they are, you feel like you belong. It's validating. And so angry people breed angry people. Happy people don't. And so to a certain degree, in any capacity, you don't feel happy about something. It's the same shit as like when somebody says something about you, 9 times out of 10, they're saying it about themselves.
Yeah.
But they're using you as the catalyst for it. They're projecting. Or they know how to press your buttons. I use this example all the time when I used to work with kids. And it would be like, well, they said this shit to me, so I had to kick their ass for it. Like I used to work with teenagers. And I said, why did you feel the need to like defend yourself? Well, because what they said isn't fucking true, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, do you believe it?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Well, if I said that you looked like a unicorn, would that piss you off? No. Why? Because I'm not a fucking unicorn. So then why do you get pissed when people call you ugly? Do you think you're ugly? Why do you feel the need to defend it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a you thing or is it a them thing? 9 times out of 10, even though if they are being negative, if you don't care about their opinion, it has no impact on you because you choose not to believe it, right? But if a certain degree you do think you're ugly, then it's going to hurt and you're going to react on that. It's the same shit. Happy people breed happy people. Angry people bring angry people.
Yeah. Specifically for hate speech, which I would assume they kind of also like not just racially and whatever, just like saying mean things for the sake of saying mean things. A lot of that has to do with just like, you're just angry.
I would also care to wager hate speech specifically probably is something that is inherently developed through generational trauma too.
I agree with that as well.
You can generationally hate something, a group, a demographic, because you grew up in a household that hated them.
Yeah, I think it stems from ignorance. A lot
for
of
sure,
it.
For sure. And again, a sense of belonging with your family, right? If there's a racial issue with one family and another family, doesn't matter if the next generation believes it or not. You've been taught that this is right. That's why lifelong battles between different communities happen because they've bred kids to not like these other kids, and instead of asking questions they just continue that generational.
100%. If you're gonna say hate speech and your dad praises you, I mean, for you in that moment, that's a win.
Well, and if you're a child and you're seeing your father talk about people in this manner, just like when you say don't swear in front of a kid because you don't want the first word to be shit.
Yeah.
it's the same thing, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
So that's hate speech. The second one is internet trolls. What do you think most internet trolls, I guess, suffer for? I
Like
don't even-
depression, probably?
No. Not according to this.
I don't know that.
Higher and psychopathy.
I would have never fucking guessed that.
Really?
What is that?
Internet trolls. So higher in psychopathy, meaning that they are lower in empathy and higher in egotistical traits.
Oh, they're narcissists.
Not narcissists. They're psychopaths, but not in the sense of like when you think of psychopaths.
But it's
you think of
ego-driven.
Ted Bundy. It's more so just like it's also that lack of empathy. So it can have a higher ego. I don't think it's the same as narcissists. Because they say like narcissism is a separate thing to psychopathy. Psychopathy is more so like you don't necessarily understand how you could be affecting somebody, while is also maybe feeling a little bit like not like
It sounds a lot like a
obsessed.
sociopath.
I mean, I think they're psychopathy and sociopath are the same thing. It's
Interesting.
just psychopathy has the Y, so it's pronounced stupid. It's sociopathy, realistically. But yeah. And then this one is kind of wild. Cyberbullies. What kind of mental illness do you think cyberbullies have?
Well, now I don't know because this game is just getting increasingly harder.
You're probably never gonna guess it.
Okay, then just tell me.
Sadism.
Sadists?
No, like sadism. So sadism. Gaining pleasure through causing others pain. Yeah. That's cyberbullies are higher levels of that. Isn't that?
They're sadists?
Yeah.
What?
Essentially, according to like previous articles on like the psychology of like internet hate. That's
crazy.
Right? And then so they did their own testing to identify like psychological presence.
That's kind of fucked up.
Right? Isn't that fucking like when you think about it, you're like, what? That's wild. And they decided to focus when they did, so these Polish people did their own. So everything we said was from previous research. This is their own research now. They decided to...
He's trying to put his mouse in your backpack.
I take it home. I go home. It comes with me.
He puts it in a hole so he can then hunt it again.
Oh my God, I kind of love that.
Yeah, he'll put his mouse in like our shoes and stuff.
I mean, I don't have anything in there, so you can play with it. It's fine. You can crawl in there. I'll take you home.
Yeah.
So they based their study off of the following traits. So the dark triads, which is narcissism, psychopathy, and I don't know how to say this.
The dark triads.
Can you say this?
Masochist?
Sort of masochism. It's the M word. You probably can't see it.
Then just point it down. I can see it. You just got to point it. Just turn your monitor down for me.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Oh, shit. I'm highlighting everything. Hi. I don't know how to use a computer. It's only been 200
It's just you're pointing it up towards the ceiling, so I just can't see.
Oh, so you're like, what?
But I can see it. You just need to point your thing down for me.
I don't know how to... I'm an English major. I also am dyslexic, so that's fun.
The main aim of the present study is to identify psychological...
The highlighted one. Wait, it starts with an M.
Machiavellianism.
What the fuck is even that?
Can you type it into your phone and ask Google to pronounce it for you?
Google, please help me. I actually don't. That one doesn't show up in like the previous or like their study, which is why I never like focused on it. But like now that I'm looking at it.
Just type it in and it'll probably give you like a speaker that you can like press on and it'll read it for you.
It didn't give me a pronunciation. Oh, not slow.
Machiavellianism.
I was pretty fucking close.
You were pretty close.
Machiavellianism.
Machiavellianism. What's the definition for it?
So the definition, now it's only giving me the pronunciation. Machiavellian, I already forgot it. It's a
Machiavellianism.
Ooh, yeah, something like that. It's a personality trait that denotes cunningness and ability to manipulate and drive. What? That denotes cunningness and the ability to manipulate and a drive. I really fucking hate when
they give you a definition and there's words in the definition that you also don't understand. Like, what is denote?
Denotes, like denies, denotes, details.
Like, how am I supposed to understand the definition of that word when I don't understand the definition and the words in it? Like,
denote is an indication. So indication of like manipulation.
Okay, Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy.
Psychopathy.
Okay.
So those are the dark triads. They also kind of measured this based off of level of experienced frustration, level of experienced envy, and satisfaction with life. So those are kind of...
Wait, okay. Say that to me one more time.
So there's the dark triads, narcissism, psychopathy, and the Machiavellian, blah, blah, that one. So there's others that they use to kind of determine whether or not people are like haters, which is a level of experienced frustration, level of experienced envy. So frustration, envy, and satisfaction with life.
Wow.
So how satisfied people are with their lives.
So are you frustrated with your life because you feel stuck? Are you jealous because other people perceive to not be where you are?
Yeah.
And
are you satisfied?
Are you satisfied?
Like in your life in general. So
I'm telling you, dude, angry people create angry people.
And
yeah. when people don't want to do some self-growth, they bring you in their shit pile.
They shit everywhere and cause a storm.
Like a baby.
Right. This experiment was with 94 people between the ages of 15 and 71. 46 out of the 94 did show signs of being haters. The results, so there's a high score on psychopathy subscale, which was significant in hating comments online. So basically, like when people hated online for whatever reason, they had high
like boost of serotonin.
No, not serotonin, but they definitely showed signs of psychopathy, meaning that like they had basically no empathy and a bit of an ego.
Well, and the internet's breeding unempathetic people,
right? They did note that things such as like age and sex. Why did that sound like your kitchen?
Phineas?
Maybe the bathroom? Is he in the he's doing his makeup.
What the fuck?
That was weird. What is
I don't know.
It's a ghost.
I'm scared, guys. I don't know what was that.
I'm scared. Guys, what is that? It's a fart. Oh, I think it's Leo because I heard the microwave. It's Leo.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I heard the microwave buttons and I was like,
I heard
that's
the microwave
not a cat.
buttons too.
What's he microwaving?
He's roasting his mouse.
He's microwaving the mouse.
Okay, we're fine. Unless there's a stranger in a house, which I mean, pop off. Make your frozen food.
If you're breaking in just to like cook, whatever, dude. Do your thing.
Okay.
So basically, haters had a high level of psychopathy. Age and sex, so like gender and stuff, like they didn't matter so much in this. However, there was like pretty significance in the sense that like frustration and low satisfaction of life were also pretty big determinations of like whether or not someone was going to be mean online. Which, I mean, you essentially, that's exactly what you said at the beginning, is like if you're angry, if you're like upset with where you are in your life now, you're gonna hate. Yeah. Which, I mean, like envy kind of goes into that too. Because if you hate your life.
Take it down to like the basics. Before the internet existed, or even when the internet did exist, but before it became what it became now, when you met a fucking bully, 9 times out of 10, they were a bully because they were being bullied.
Yeah.
Right? A bully, their life probably wasn't they were dealing with shit at home.
Yep.
Right? So they bullied other people because that's how they knew how to interact. Like, it's the same shit.
It's the same shit. It all goes around. I found the psychology of it pretty
same
interesting.
Shit, different look.
Yeah. I mean, it puts it into perspective. I did for a moment, like while researching it, because I've seen thousands of times of just a video of some nice young woman who put on a sundress and a hat and was like, I'm going out to like a bookshop, and in the comments would be like, just her, like tearing her down, and for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
And I just, in my mind, I'm like, I don't understand why people feel so comfortable. Like, what do you gain out of that? And essentially from that, they're not necessarily gaining anything.
But when you realize that it has nothing to do with you,
it's so freeing.
It's so liberating to realize that you hate me, but you could, if I didn't exist, you would hate the next person. It doesn't fucking matter that it's me. So at that point, I'm good. Yeah. I'm set. I'm good. I'm all set. I might be the person that you've decided to take this out on, but ultimately, I'm all set.
Yeah.
It's not about me. It's about you.
Exactly.
And then it changes everything. And that, I think, is the most liberating thing that anybody can take from it is there's going to be people that hate on you in the internet. It just is going to fucking happen. And if you choose to put yourself in the limelight in any kind of process, you're going to get backlash to a certain degree.
Mhm.
There's always going to be a person that hates you, if not multiple people. And the more popular you get, the more it's going to become that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when you realize that it's got nothing to do with you, it's incredibly liberating.
Oh, extremely liberating.
And it devalues what you actually think about that opinion.
Well, it's kind of like, and this sort of segues into the next, which is the parasocial relationship of it, which you can see it as like the opposite of hating, because this tends to be like people who are very involved in like their online favorite icons, celebrities, influencers, whoever. And again, like we are very much like we have parasocial relationships with
I would agree
and
with
YouTubers.
that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
So like,
but
it's not
how far
uncommon.
is too far, right?
That's a great. And then that leads into the third option. So what is, for people watching, and we've heard it or we've said it before, but like if you don't know what is a parasocial relationship, it is essentially a one-sided relationship between a person and an internet influencer or celebrity of any kind. It can be real or fictional.
That's how a lot of stalkers
yeah,
come to be.
100%.
With celebrities specifically.
So this article, this is a separate article, but it kind of distinguished between parasocial interactions and relationships. So, for example, if you're watching Friends and you're sitting there and you kind of feel like you're part of the gang in that moment, that's considered a parasocial interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if the show's off and you're still thinking about them, or maybe you talk about like Ross as if you know him personally, just like in an off comment, that's a parasocial relationship. And it's actually very common among people, just because like the article basically was like, as humans, like we're always going to be social beings, and whether
Yes.
or not you can get that in real life or online, like we are always going to seek out that form of connection.
Yes.
And then it can get extreme, which is a parasocial attachment. And that's feeling either romantic or familiar, meaning like I feel like a motherly figure or a daughterly figure for like this online character, real or fake again.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, I'm all for like, I'm a very open-minded person. And I mean this with like peace and love. I'm not trying to be judgy, but I did see a video on TikTok. I won't name her, but she talked about how when she was younger, she had a romantic relationship with a cartoon that she saw online, like on YouTube, and like talked about like the romance of it and like why she like kind of fell for this character.
Well, a lot of people I saw a video of a girl being like, I'm not attracted to most men in the real world, but I'm definitely attracted to like cartoon men. And I was like, fucking valid. Like,
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of girls who are like, oh, I'm obsessed with like these anime guys or whatever. But I would say like, it's so popular and such a common thing that in the fucking early 2000s, they made a show about that where men or women would go onto the show on MTV and they would be obsessed with a celebrity, and then they would look for a person that was like that celebrity. Do you remember this?
No, I don't. That's wild.
Yeah,
that's kind of funny.
It was like, I remember, like, I'll give you one of the episodes, like a guy was in love with Shakira. And so the show brought in 10 women that looked like Shakira, sang like Shakira, danced like her. And he got to pick who was his like celebrity girlfriend.
Damn, I wonder if those people are still together now.
Probably fucking not. Like, I'm sure it was just a phase for a lot of the women, and then after that he's like, you're not Shakira.
Right, but like these, like this is kind of like where it gets even more interesting, because yeah, there's haters, but then there's people that, and I've been a part of it as a viewer. Like I have parasocial relationships with a lot of the people I watch.
Mm-hmm.
I would never cross the line to say that it's ever been romantic, or I've ever thought of them as like my actual friend.
Yes.
You know? I can.
Yeah, you have boundaries.
I have boundaries. I know that like, even if like, oh, I love this person, they don't know me, and I'm aware of that.
And if you met them
in
in the real world, you would approach them like you're meeting them for the first time.
Right. I wouldn't like walk up to them and talk to them as if we've been friends for fucking years.
Yeah.
And that comes with like Jenna Marbles, who like, I think we both had a pretty close parasocial relationship with her. at some point in our lives. And it's because like she was fun. Like you had fun watching her. It was like hanging out with a friend.
It's exactly like that. Yeah.
And so there's like the innocent parts of it. And then
But they also had experience like people going to their house.
Yeah.
And they would have to post videos and be like, please don't show up to our house. And then it turns into this things where now people can't share, like they have to hide any kind of indicator of where they're living because people will show up at their house.
People will stalk you.
Mhm.
People will do crazy shit. They will call places to see if you're there.
Mm-hmm.
They'll follow you. Like if you're on tour, they'll follow you to your tour bus.
Yeah.
And follow you to the hotel that you're staying at and try to find which room you're in. And it's like, to what, like, why?
Mhm.
I didn't get into like the psychology of like like that extreme.
Yeah.
parasocial
Or celebrities,
relationship.
right? Like think about how many celebrities or famous figures met the end of their life to a fan.
Right? Oh, and that, like, it happens.
Yeah.
It fucking happens.
Yeah.
So, like, that's
Or like
crazy
the
too.
amount of times that celebrities, I've seen this so many times that like a celebrity will start dating somebody
Mhm.
and then they break up with that person because the people disapprove of that relationship so much
Wild.
that it causes them to have to break up because like Chris Evans, I think, is a good example. He was dating an actress that people just didn't think she was pretty enough for him. And they literally bullied her out of the relationship. She no longer felt worthy of that relationship. And so they had to separate because of it. And it was like last year, Chris Evans was obviously dating his wife now. I can't remember her name, but people didn't know who the girl was that he was dating. And so they started to speculate and the internet fucking did what it did. And it made the assumption that he was dating Selena Gomez. And every fucking other video was of him with edits of Selena Gomez and them talking about how they'd be perfect together. Meanwhile, I don't even think they've ever fucking met. Like, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
The misinformation and
Yeah.
like, yeah, that weird attachment. And I was actually going to say, this kind of goes back to how you felt about streaming. Cause you say you have a good crew of followers, of viewers, and you enjoy them just as much as they enjoy you.
Mhm.
It's that mutual.
Yeah.
And it made me think of a podcast, Call Her Daddy, with Alex Cooper. She had Emma Chamberlain on, who she got famous off of YouTube, and I think she was like maybe 15 or 16 and like has still been pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she posts YouTube as much, but she did give like a lot of really good like perspective on like how it was for her, because she said something that stuck with me. She said, my viewers are essentially my boss.
Yes.
In that case,
They determine your income.
right? Exactly. Like you are like your
That's why
livelihood.
cancel culture can be so scary.
Yes.
Because, and that's why people freak out when it happens. And that's why people will like give these fake apologies when they don't actually feel bad. They just feel bad that they got caught in saying something or that people have disagreed with them.
Yes.
And it's like, it's because when you lose viewership, you lose income.
Yeah.
But to a certain degree, I can't remember what their name was, but I was watching an influencer who was talking about this and talking about the business aspect of it when you become like famous and how to invest back into your business so that your income isn't just the shit you make on YouTube. And they said that it's very important that when you start making money, you're not only investing in the videos that you're making, but you're investing in stocks or whatever, investing in different forms of income. Because if this goes tits up for whatever reason and your income disappears, who's going to pay you to be able to keep making content? Now, granted, those things, and they said this too, they said, and it's for a period of time, right? Because you could get hatred for a certain period of time, but if Jenna Marbles came back tomorrow, I can guarantee you people would be fucking thrilled.
Oh, yeah.
They would be ecstatic
Over
to
the
see
moon.
her. They wouldn't come back and shit on her again.
No.
But there has to be a certain period of time. Like Shane Dawson got a bunch of shit. Jeffree Star got a bunch of shit. There was a bunch of YouTubers, fucking James Charles, all these people, Tati, that makeup artist, can't remember her name, Tati something. All these people got a lot of shit. They lost a lot of followers, and they're still making videos, and they're still fine. You know what I mean?
And they still have viewers.
Oh yeah, millions. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
not. I don't know how many viewers James Charles was losing, but he still has viewers. Logan fucking Paul is still making videos.
Yeah, exactly.
You're viral until you're not. So it's like, how do you have a backbone so that you can stick with how you feel? You don't necessarily have to apologize because you sneezed in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
If a mass population of people disagree with what you have to say, and if you're hurting people, then yeah, but like, do you have to pay for the outcome of your previous mistakes when you're just human, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And then it's a really weird dynamic. And I mean more so for the people that like, they might have either done questionable things in the past, or like they did something that, or had an opinion that people just straight up did not like.
Yeah.
And so they were canceled. And it's different canceling or like hating for the sake of it versus like holding someone accountable. I think there's both people that like kind of like the people who are going to hold you accountable just want to know that you're learning from your mistakes.
Yes.
If you're going to have a platform,
100%.
if you're going to speak to millions of people, you should say, I made a mistake. This is the reasons why this is a mistake. And
Yeah.
I do regret it. And
Yeah.
I hope you can watch me.
I'm human
learn.
to a certain degree. I'm going to make mistakes. Understanding too that like when you have massive following like that, you are, because of this parasocial relationship, you are a mentor to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So people are going to interact with their life the way that you do because they admire you. So if you're interacting in a poor manner, then it's going to be disappointing to see that that's how you want people to interact with the world. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So there is a sense of responsibility that I do think is important and you should take into consideration. But again, if you're not hurting people, you're being kind, you're trying to be the most honest person you can be. We're all fucking human at the end of the day.
We're going to make mistakes.
We're going to make mistakes. No one is perfect.
Yeah.
To hold anybody to that standard is incredibly unfair. And for that person to expect themselves to maintain that standard is unfair to themselves. So it's a really dangerous road to walk down if you can't find a sense of balance. And I think the sense of balance comes to who is your actual community? Who are the people that you actually trust the opinion of? Who are your lenses to the world when you can't, hi Milo, when you can't make a decision for yourself? Is it the internet or do you have a community outside of that? Can you put the fucking phone down when you're done?
Right.
Can you have a life outside of out of media?
Yeah.
And be a human and have a human experience. That sense of balance, the sense of boundaries, I think are very important. And the people who are veterans in social media do it very, very well right now. And it's because they've had years to practice it.
I agree. I totally forgot to put her name, but there was a YouTuber that talked about parasocial relationships. And sorry to this woman, I totally forgot to at you. I'll try to find you later. But she talked about her own experience. I don't think she was a super huge YouTuber, but she had a following. And she talked about how she does have parasocial relationships with people that she doesn't know. And ultimately, her viewpoint of it is it's fine if it's innocent. You know, she's like, it's okay if people look up to me. People will send her pictures or memes on Instagram. And she doesn't open it because she's like, ultimately, I don't know you.
Yeah.
And if I'm not following you and the picture's blurry, I can't guarantee what it's going to be. But it doesn't bother me that people do it.
For sure.
And
but again, boundaries.
Boundaries. And another thing, kind of what you were going on before about if I don't have your number in my phone, does your opinion matter? She talked about one thing that did bother her about parasocial relationships. And it's when people in her comments said, I'm disappointed in you. Because she's like,
you don't even know me.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Are you my father to be disappointed in me? And I think the reason was she shared at one point that she was married. And people are like, oh, I'm disappointed that you didn't tell us before. And she was like, why do I owe you that?
Yeah.
You know? So there is a level of boundaries. And I do get that as a viewer, sometimes I've noticed like I could take that parasocial relationship. I see too far, but like in the sense of that.
And the amount of times I've watched a video and I've judged somebody for their
Yeah.
behavior or how they choose to act, but I continue fucking watching their shit. Like, we all do it. And I know that it's a culture that's now developed in and of its own, but understanding that there's the internet and then there's human interaction and they're very two different things is important to have. And I think as of late, it's hard to find the line.
Yeah. Very hard.
And especially, again, when angry people are trying to interact with the world, they're going to interact with the capabilities that they know. And that means being mean and cruel and showing up in that manner. And it can be really difficult to find a sense of boundaries if you're, it's the same thing as like being on Instagram and determining your worth based on the likes that you get on a photo.
Exactly.
Hearts are determining your value.
But
Why would you give that power? So it's your own mental battle and your own mental turmoil. And like, I always say this, people will be like, well, the internet's evil. The internet's a fucking platform.
Yes.
It's good. It's bad. It's people that make it what it is.
It's part of human error.
Yeah, it's the same thing with AI,
creation.
right? People freak out about AI.
AI is not that serious, guys.
Well, I mean, it can be, but again, it's not the platform. It's not the thing that's a certain thing. It's literally
It's
an
people.
inanimate object. It has no emotions. It's a database.
Yeah.
It's the people that impact what that will be, right? When you go down an algorithm and you start seeing all these dark videos, that's why I stopped being on Facebook, was because I kept seeing bad video after bad video after bad video and people being mean. And I was like, this is the algorithm doing what it does best. It's taking the most popular things on Facebook and making them more seen. That means that Facebook is more predominantly a negative space.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
So I'm not going to be a part of it anymore. And I deleted my account because I don't want to be a part of that community. So it's like understanding your sense of boundaries and where you land and where you fall in that is important. I think I think it's self-directed, and that's also hard because there's no rule book to tell you how to behave. Whereas when you're at a normal job and you overstep, HR is going to come in, your boss is going to come in, people are going to keep you in the parameters of how you should function in your job. When you're on the internet, you have multiple people doing that for you who all have their own blurred understanding of their morals and values and how you should apply to them. Like, you can't fucking win.
No, and I think what makes online space so wild in regards to all of this is the fact that like there is like a step back from that humanness. Like, we are all human. Everyone who goes on there is a human, obviously. But because you're hiding behind a screen, because you
well, apparently not, because you always take those tests when they're like, "Are you human?" And I'm like, "What the fuck else would I be?"
Yeah, no, I'm a cat.
They're like, "Spot all the bridges," and I'm like,
and then there's
a
like
robot could
a
do
little
this.
bit of the bridge in the corner of like a pixel
And you
of the bridge.
fail.
And I'm like, do I click that one? I don't like, is that
You're
part
like,
of it?
is this a human question? Like, is the second guessing supposed to tell you if I'm human or not?
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like, does it like watch you like click on it and click off of it and click on it because you're just like not sure?
Yeah.
Like,
So
I always think
funny.
about that. But the thing about parasocial relationships is that it does segue into the last topic that we will talk about.
This is a longer video for you guys, so just keep that in mind. We've hit past the hour mark, but this is too good. Let's just keep going.
There's a lot to say.
Yeah.
And this is even like just like an iceberg.
It is. I know, it really is.
Because with
It's
parasocial,
the tip.
right? Like, right?
Tippy top.
Tippy top. Tip. The white part of the iceberg.
The whole thing's white.
No, it's like blue on the
No, that's the water making it blue.
Well, it's the blue. It's blue.
If you flipped it, it would still be white.
Flip them. That's what we should be doing. Flipping icebergs.
I don't think it would stay up because the buoyancy is at the bottom.
I don't know. Buoyancy. I'm an English major.
Okay, keep going.
So the last part is basically it does feed off of parasocial relationships, and it's something I also find super fascinating.
Okay.
And definitely something I think most people have done. If you haven't done this, I think you're lying. But it's this idea of shipping culture. So if you don't know what shipping is, it began in 1995, the term shipping.
I thought you were going to say 1885, and I was like, are we talking about shipping in terms of people or shipping like ships?
Boats. No boats.
We are
involved.
shipping today.
No, metaphorical boats.
Yes. 19 what?
1995. It is term ships. That's when it was coined. So it was when fans of the show X-Files believed that the two main characters should be romantically involved with each other. They at first called themselves relationshippers.
I can't believe X-Files was the one that started this.
X-Files. Then
she was the pioneer.
She was the pioneer. Isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
People were passionate about these two main characters becoming a couple.
Yeah.
So they called themselves relationshippers, and then our shippers, and finally it just became shippers. And then so if you ship a couple, that you are a shipper, but the couple itself, the two people that you want to be in the relationship or you're invested in the relationship, that's the ship.
Okay.
So I guess a good way to think of it is like the Hunger Games. Am I boring you?
No, you're not boring me at all.
Slap her across the fucking face. So I guess the best way to
Am I boring you?
Am I boring you? No, it's like, I know you're
Hunger
tired.
Games with like Peeta
and Katniss, or like Gale and Katniss.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Peeta and Gale.
Well, fucking no. The beginning was Edward and Bella, or Jacob and Bella.
That too.
And Edward and Jacob.
Edward and Jacob is correct.
That's so funny. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so as a noun, obviously the ship means the investment of the two fictional characters, which is originally what it was. Then you have things like shipping wars. So people who are Katniss and Peeta.
Yeah, Team Edward versus Team Jacob.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's basically shipping wars. Who should be ending up with who? And then you have a canon ship, which is a ship like Katniss and Peeta, most likely to end up being the ship at the end of the series. And then you have a sunk ship, which is a ship that is essentially only fictional. Like, it's not, like, these people aren't going to get together in your show. Yeah. So, like, Gale and Katniss.
Well, they kind of got together, so that doesn't necessarily count. But, like, Edward and Jacob.
I just burped.
I mean, in Wattpad, they've definitely got together. So, I mean, one can always hope.
It's
when you don't find the ship that you want fictionally, go to Wattpad, you will always find it.
You will always find it. Yeah. There's a fan fiction somewhere of your favorite people.
Yes.
So, these are, like, essentially just, like, the terms. But sorry, as I'm like pulling my hair out.
Okay.
Yes, I'm fine. So among shippers, shipping was against like fictional or was for fictional characters.
Mm-hmm.
You'd probably be surprised to know that a lot of shipping happens between same-sex couples. It's actually more common that people ship two same-sex or like two men or two women
over two heterosexual.
Yeah, over a heterosexual
is that just because up until recently, there was more predominantly heterosexual relationships on TV?
Ding, ding, ding. So the biggest, which I didn't know this, but the biggest ship to kind of like come from shipping was between 1970 and 1980. Can you guess what it is?
1970 and 1980?
Yes. So this is pre-internet, technically. There might have been some internet.
Okay, give me a hint.
Spaceship.
Spaceship? What the fuck? Star Trek?
Star Trek.
Who?
Captain Kirk and Spock.
What?
Yeah. They were the biggest ship, the biggest queer ship specifically. To like
what?
To the point where people were like, yeah, there was fan fiction of these two men like being together romantically. Maybe smut, a lot of smut. There's a lot of smut being like sexual interactions. Obviously I didn't read any of it, so take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, that was the biggest ship at the time. And exactly for the reason that you said, that there wasn't.
I never watched Star Trek. Who do they end up with anybody? Is there a love interest for any of?
I've never watched it either. I'm assuming that there's Spock. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Captain Kirk has like relationships with like every female character.
He's like James Bond.
Kinda.
Yes.
I think he's one of those like playboys. But people liked the idea of them because there was a lack of.
Are we talking Patrick Stewart's
No.
Captain Kirk.
No,
I just see
William
the bald.
Shatner. William
Okay,
Shatner.
I just see the bald head, and it's hard for me to consider or relate.
Not Professor X.
How many women did Professor X get with?
Nobody. None of them. Sorry, Professor. He
Actually,
can read your mind. That's weird.
Actually, in most shows and movies, I would say I've always seen him as like a self-sufficient character. Like he don't need no woman or man. You know what I mean? Professor X,
Yeah.
self-sufficient. His version of Captain Kirk, even though I've never watched the show. Yeah, like I've just never.
He's just a dude.
He's just a dude.
He's just hanging out.
Yeah.
He's like, sex who? I'm a
Although
virgin.
I probably can guarantee you that people shipped Professor X and Magneto.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get into a lot of the fictional ships because it kind of at some point in the life, you have Star Trek, you have Harry Potter.
Sam and Frodo from Lord of the Rings.
Sam and Frodo is a huge one.
Yeah.
Huge one.
Yeah.
People, and like even The Hobbit, people ship. A lot of that does have to do with the lack of queer representation in media in general, as well as the lack of female or women characters. Like Lord of the Rings, there's like maybe
it's just
3.
a sausage party.
It's a sausage party.
Yeah,
I mean, a sausage gotta go somewhere, buddy. No homie homo.
It needs a bun
No
somewhere.
homie homo. I mean, period. This is like that in itself with the fictional characters is not. I mean, to me, that's fine. I've shipped Buffy and Angel before, where you're like rooting on a couple. That's like your ship.
You were Angel and Buffy?
Yeah. I don't know what the Draco Malfoy vampire man was named.
Spike!
Oh, it's Spike.
I shipped Buffy and Spike till the end.
Yeah.
Angel was too sobby for me.
I liked how beefy he was, I think, as a kid.
I loved Spike's. I love it. I love a enemies to lovers like relationship, and I love a crass, like in your face. Like Spike didn't fucking care.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He was kind of the bad boy.
Yeah, I love the bad boys in the shows. That
Right.
like pulls me every time.
So shipping fictional characters, pretty normal actually. It does fall into like a parasocial relationship because you're invested.
Yeah,
There's that
okay.
investment in it.
Yeah.
Where it gets a little bit tricky and slightly uncomfortable is this sort of new phenomenon that happened within the internet and TV, as not even TV, I think more so the internet, where you have the rise of influencers, celebrities, you're more invested in them.
Real people.
So exactly. There's this sort of newer notion of shipping real people. And again, still a lot of ships do contain same-sex relationships. So peace and love to these two YouTubers. I use them as an example because I think it's a great example, because I was aware of it happening when I was watching them in 2009.
Oh my god, I think I know who you're talking about.
But I've never like actively shipped real people because that's too far for me. That feels invasive. They're like you and me, like they're people.
Yeah.
And it's Dan and Phil from the British.
Yeah.
So when I was like kind of like looking into ships, I actually found myself on YouTube.
Whatever happened to them?
They're still making videos.
Are they?
Yeah. I think they're a lot better off now. I kind of did a deep dive into like their whole history. There was another YouTube video that was like an hour long, and I watched all of it. And they talked about like the intricacies of their ship and like people shipping them in that parasocial relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and this person, again, I should have credited them. I'm so sorry, but they put it.
We'll put it in our description.
Yeah, I'll find them like after, and I'll send you.
Yeah, we'll send a shout out in the description.
Yeah. So they made like a iceberg. Like tip of the iceberg is kind of like that's the fun loving ship. So that's kind of like they're in on the joke. Dan and Phil would be in on the joke that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would go deeper into like, no, that's fucking stalking. Like that's weird that you guys do that, and it shouldn't be that way.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of like expand on that more.
Yeah.
Shipping with them, it would be kind of just like liking their dynamic. That's sort of the lighthearted part.
Mhm.
Liking their dynamic. Maybe like being like, you guys are just cute when you like hug like that.
Yeah.
Like, again, not serious. You're maybe making a comment. Maybe you just watch them because you like them together. Maybe you're thinking something.
Yeah.
But it's just not that serious. I would even argue that like fan fiction can fall somewhere in that like lighthearted area because it's technically fiction. Like you're taking real people, but you're using them in your own imagination and way of like, I don't know, just your own story, I guess. Same with like fan art, but I think fan art's a little bit deeper.
Okay.
In the sense that like I came across a few of just like general fan art and I was like, I see everything. Like it was like watching a video someone offering. Like it's just like you're like I didn't need to see this, and to know that these are real people that can see this, it's just weird.
Yeah.
Right? And they get into like the history of when Dan and Phil started doing videos together, they were not out. Their sexuality was not declared. So when you have people shipping them, regardless of whether or not they had maybe natural sexual tension or romantic tension, they were essentially outing them in assuming their sexual orientation.
Okay.
And it made Dan specifically very uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
like extremely uncomfortable. Whether it was true or not, I believe he later in 2019 said like it was true. Like we were something, but like that wasn't for you. We weren't trying to give that part to our audience. Our audience was seeking that out. And then it gets to the deeper levels of like YouTube videos of like people literally like slowing down shots of their house and being like, this is proof that Dan and Phil sleep in the same bed. Like very invasive.
Yeah.
They would like find boxers. They would like zoom in into like boxers laying on the floor and be like, this is proof that like they're obviously having sex and like it's wild and crazy, which is just so invasive.
Yeah.
So invasive, so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And like now they're both out now. Like they both explicitly said like, yes, we're gay.
Are they together?
They've never said that explicitly, but they bought a house together. And they're like in their early to mid 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can make your own conclusions with that.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But whatever they don't say is essentially you can assume that's just for them.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
For
thing.
sure.
Absolutely. But it was just like, I fell into a rabbit hole. Because it wasn't just Dan and Phil. It was like K-pop. And like the culture. And like I could go hours about K-pop.
Well, not even that. Like people will grieve if like an influenced like David Dobrik and
Liza
Minnelli.
Liza Minnelli? Yes. No, that's correct. That's Liza Minnelli for sure. No, absolutely.
What the fuck's her last
Liza
name?
Koshy?
Liza Koshy. Thank you.
Liza Minnelli.
Holy
It's Liza
shit.
Minnelli.
Fuck.
I think she's a little too old for him.
I can't unsee that now. When they broke up, the internet was devastated.
Devastated.
And it was like, they're just having a relationship.
It was just like, it just, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. Like, it wasn't that serious. I think they even ended on good terms.
Yeah, I think they did too. But yeah, like this kind of like, it's just a little crazy that people, Vanessa Hudgens and
Zac Efron.
Austin Baker. Austin Baker?
I think so.
They were together for years and then they ended up breaking up and people still talk about them and she's married now. Like she's happy living her life. Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez.
I was just about to say that.
Fantastic example of that. They're both in committed relationships. They're both living their lives.
His wife is pregnant with their child.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Hailey Bieber.
I don't really follow this stuff because I just try not to.
I don't even follow it. It just kind of pops up.
Yeah, it's true. But like people are still shipping them. People are still shitting on Hailey Bieber.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's not
for
necessary.
a relationship that's sunk. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Another extreme version. So there's Dan and Phil. I think that one I knew of, which is why like I felt a little bit more comfortable talking about it. There was also, I don't know if you ever heard about the shipping in One Direction between Harry Styles and Louis Thomas.
I heard about shippings between all of them.
I'll like keep it long story short, but people shipped Harry and Louis together, and they were close, like they were friends,
Mhm.
but people were like over analyzing everything.
Mhm.
Like they would do like slow down videos of like their hands like sensually touching. But if you watch the original video, they were giving like a lazy high five over something. Like it
Yeah.
was so unserious.
Yeah.
And people started twisting their narrative to fit into their ship, even though they'd straight up been like, no, we're just really good friends.
Mhm.
To the point where like when Louis's longtime girlfriend Eleanor had a baby, people online were convinced the baby was fucking fake to hide his relationship with Harry, which I was like, they would.
Now it's turning into like conspiracy theories,
and that's exactly
yeah.
it. That's exactly it. There's this idea that like we search for something in parasocial relationships when it goes too deep, that attachment, that we become like conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I should do a whole deep dive into K-pop because I think that's a fucking fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago it was the actor and actress who played Hermione and Draco.
Yeah. Yeah, even like Harry Potter being one of the more like they have more like sorry, bye. I'm falling into shambles. Continuous debates. Thank you. Mind. It got there. About ships.
That was all me. Thank you for pointing in my direction like I helped you.
You helped me so much in that
Oh,
moment.
you're
I felt
welcome.
it. But like imagine people shipping us.
Okay.
But I thought about it because I'm like, if people shipped us, a part of like I think at the beginning, I think a part of it would be like it's so unserious, like it's funny, you know, and if we have to like bump knees to get an extra like 50,000 like viewers or like likes, like
no,
fuck
I would
it.
refuse. I would refuse. No, I just like I mean, again, I think it's sense of boundaries, like just being like, it is what it is. People are gonna think what they want to think. Let's just keep living our life, like.
I agree. I see it get too far where like it affects not only the people, but if they're in a relationship with someone else, then that person automatically gets attacked because they're interfering with something that doesn't exist there in the first place. It's a made up narrative. It's a conspiracy theory.
It is a conspiracy theory.
Shipping is a conspiracy theory. I think there actually is an article that like states that as well.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Right?
But I mean, yeah, like it's the way the internet has turned is very interesting. And sometimes you feel like you're not a part of the ride, even though you're on it. Right. Like you don't get to decide what direction the ride goes. No. But you're a passenger on the train.
Right. And this all stemmed from a French merchant making a loom to like weave cloth. And now people are like,
what was his name?
Joseph.
Fuck you, Joseph.
Joseph Marie Jacob.
Yeah. I mean, it's the people that change the game in terms of the platform. And I think like in order to stay afloat and keep a sense of balance, whoever you are, holding to your ground roots and connecting to your people is the best way to do it.
Oh, 100%.
But I mean, yeah, like it's crazy.
It is crazy.
My brain is like goo now that we've talked about this. Like,
I know I'm falling into shambles as well. I mean, you got to take everything on the internet with a grain of salt.
For sure. 2 grains of salt.
Maybe like a sprinkle of grain.
Yeah, I mean, if I think about it too hard, my brain like spirals.
It's hard to grasp because there's no right or wrong answer to anything.
Well, it's everyone's morals all clumped into one.
What exactly? There's too many ideas, too many opinions.
It's overly saturated.
I think there's just like setting a boundary, understanding like where does hate come from.
I also think like the internet people haven't gotten worse. People have just gotten more open about their shit. Like people would be like, this is not how people interacted before, and this things are going downhill, and it's like, no, people have always been this way. They just were better at hiding it before. Right. And now with social media and the internet, you can do whatever you want and no one will know it's you. And so it's just less unfiltered.
I wonder if there's a correlation between violence in real life versus like aggression online. Like if there's more aggression online, is there less violence in real life?
Probably not. I just recently heard on the news that a guy was playing a video game and he saw somebody in the, like, I'm assuming he was playing COD or something like that, and he saw somebody he didn't like who was like playing the game poorly. He flew to this he found this person's address. I don't know how. He flew to this person's house, bought a hammer, broke into his house, and beat the shit out of him because he didn't like how he was being on the internet.
That's psychopathy. That's
like
sociopathical behavior.
That's insane. That's insane.
Just because you didn't like turn off the game. Like play Mario Kart. I don't know. Play one person, like it's not that serious.
It's not that serious. So like I don't know if
mentally
it's less. I wouldn't. I mean, yeah. And then if you want to go down the dive of like people who live stream, like if people get information, they can like. There's just so much about it that can derail.
Yeah.
If you're not careful. So I mean, yeah, like it's again, my brain will spiral if I think about it too much.
Same.
So I try not to.
I think that's like kind of the.
Thanks for
key.
scaring me back into it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're to like lie awake at night.
Yes.
Cold sweat thinking about it.
I'm so tired too.
Sarah's melting. I don't know if you can tell. She's slowly just gotten like lower and lower.
Yes.
I think it's like hit her. But that's all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed my research.
I did. Thank you.
I think I have a topic for my next research.
Oh, pop off.
K-pop. K-pop's fucking wild. The whole everything around it. I'm just like, why? Why is this a thing?
Is this just your excuse to talk about John?
Nope.
John Woo is his name?
Jungkook.
Jungkook.
I mean, 100%. His album 7, so good.
And you think he's hot?
I do. Now I do.
What happened before?
I don't know. I always thought he was like too young.
Probably was.
He always looked like a baby to me. But now he's like beefed up with tattoos and like piercings. And I'm like, okay. I
enlist.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Spencer.
No problem.
Everyone give her a round of applause for all the research that she did for these last 2 episodes.
Thanks for staying awake.
I wasn't being put to sleep. It's just like my
Hard
brain
life.
hurts
Hard life.
to think about it.
It sucks. It's weird. You kind of have to like ignore it.
It makes me sad that we're not still in the 2000s and I can just play Pong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Go on your little
Life just gets so hard when you get
dial-up
older.
internet.
Yeah.
It does.
Things were so much easier when I was younger and I didn't have to worry. I just played Nintendogs and messaged my friends on Nintendo chat, you know? Like,
right. I miss the days where like it's wild to think I wanted to be an adult at some point.
fuck, I was desperate for it.
I don't know what the appeal is anymore. I don't get it.
It fucking sucks. Children of age under 18. Don't grow up fast.
No.
Take your time. And it's so funny. Like, I'll say shit that my parents said to me when I was a kid, and I'll catch myself rolling my eyes because I'm like, they were fucking right. Like, they would be like, don't grow up too fast. You don't need to grow up too fast. Before you know it, you'll be an adult and you'll wish you were a kid. And I'm like, whatever, Mom, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I never said that to my mother because she would beat my ass.
Beat your ass with a bottle.
Yeah. But now that I'm an adult, I'm like, this bitch was right.
Oh, it's crazy.
She was right about everything. And my dad was right about everything. And I'm like, God damn it. And it's because it's experiential.
It is.
They experienced it and they know what they're talking about.
When I was 16, I thought I had it all figured out. And now that I'm almost 28.
I don't know shit.
No.
Yeah.
I look at 16-year-olds and I'm like, you need to relax. You're not an adult. You don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, fuck up. Go fuck up. Go be stupid.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point.
But you don't need to worry that you don't have it all figured out.
No.
You're not supposed to.
Don't try to figure it out. I'm on year 30 and I still don't have it figured out.
Thank God I didn't have it figured out. If I thought I had it figured out and I followed that plan, I would have hated my life.
If I thought I figured it out at 25, I think I'd be very bored. I think the rest of my life would be very boring if I figured it out. Whatever it is I'm supposed to figure it out. I would be bored. Because, like, what's the chase? What am I looking for?
Yeah.
What's the search? I have it. Now what?
Valid.
So, don't figure it out.
That's a very wholesome way to end this.
Right?
We're keeping it.
Okay, cute.
All right. You can see our socials here. You can follow us at the dysfunctional duo. And I think our YouTube is dysfunctional duo. Again, they're here. The work is here.
You're
I'm spiraling. I'm so tired.
Good night.
That's it.
We'll see you next
I
week.
want to do like a trivia with you soon.
Okay.
Like a movie trivia, or like, I don't know. I want to do like a music trivia, like guess the song or something like that.
If you could act in any movie, what movie would you act in?
Lord of the Rings.
Honestly, same, but because there's a lack of female characters.
Or
I'd
Harry
probably say-
Potter.
I was gonna say Harry Potter.
Or Harry Potter.
You like one and done. Like you're good. You're set for life. You don't have to do anything for the rest of your life.
I mean, you have to survive when Voldemort shows up, but yeah.
I meant like as an actor, not as like a
Oh,
character.
I thought you meant in the movie.
I mean, okay, if you were to be in any like alternate universe movie,
Those were my answers. An actor?
I'd want to be a part of the series.
Friends, probably.
Cute. I like that. I probably would do like The Office. I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah, I would want to do a series, and yeah, I mean, these actors are well off now. Like, they're good.
Right?
I think at the end of Friends, like, they were making like $1 million an episode.
An episode?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Friends is also like a crazy phenomenon of just like, I never fully got into it, but like, I understand why people are like, that's my show. That's my comfort
like,
show.
with Matthew Perry passing,
That's
so recently, I've heard so many people say that, like, they genuinely sobbed when they found out that he passed. Like, they
Parasocial.
grieved him.
Yeah, that parasocial relationship.
Yeah.
You grew up with him, like realistically.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was like the same series, like you were friends. That's why it's called Friends.
Isn't that crazy that you can rewatch that show and see him
Yeah.
in those moments, but he's no longer here?
He's immortalized. That is who he is.
Crazy.
That's his legacy.
And by the end of our life, all of them will be.
What do you mean?
Well, they're all gonna, by the time we're 80, none of them are gonna be around.
No, yeah, that's true. Right? That's kind of something I think about all the time is like when we're older and like all of our celebrities that we grew up with just start dying. We're like, holy fuck.
Yeah,
Not T-Pain.
that's when you realize T-Pain.
I don't know.
Not Lil Wayne.
Yeah, right. Oh, heaven forbid.
Oh my God, Mom, Lil Wayne died. Lil Wayne?
Little Wayne.
I recently saw a video of an older couple being like, me in the senior home when I have dementia, and it's like they can't remember anything, and then somebody turns on the Veronicas. I feel like untouched.
God. I feel so untouched.
La 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 la. I could take.
That's a
take
Canadian song.
Yeah, it is.
Sick.
But I thought it was so fucking funny because I'm like, that's it. That's gonna be me.
It's gonna be
And-
WAP.
or there was another one that a friend showed me, and it was a woman. She was like, when you are an elder in a senior home and you're getting interviewed for like a quote that you reference, and it's like a young person, and they don't know your old content, like they don't know what stuff you listened to when you were younger, and she goes, "Fuck, what was it? I don't remember how it starts. Hold on." If you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted, would you capture it or just let it slip?
To seize everything.
You can't do this to me right now. You know exactly what I'm fucking talking about.
What? To have everything you ever wanted in one moment?
Guys. Wait, hold on. If you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted, would you capture it or just let it slip?
I'd capture it.
Spencer,
What?
do you not understand what I'm saying to you right
No.
now?
Why are you looking at me like that? Am I stupid?
If you had one shot, one opportunity
Is this a rap?
to seize everything you ever wanted,
This is Eminem.
would you capture it or let it slip?
Let it slip. Yes. I don't know. What?
I'm very disappointed in
What
you.
am I doing? What's happening? I feel interrogated.
I don't know the beginning of the next lyric, but
It's Eminem.
it's Eminem.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I thought this was a genuine question.
No, she was using the quote from Eminem.
Oh, Well, if
And
you
I was
had
like,
the
me.
chance to change your fate, would you?
What the fuck?
Brave. Like the Disney movie. That was what I was
No,
thinking.
see, it's over. What is it? His bones are heavy, knees weak, arms spaghetti. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti.
I only know Mom.
He's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud. He opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking out. Everybody's choking out. The clock's run out. Time's up. Fuck.
It's over now?
Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, and then there's more. But she was using the quote from Eminem, and I thought it was fucking funny.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
I had a feeling it was like, I was like, that sounds like a lyric, but I thought you were genuinely asking me that
Well,
question.
no, but like, yes, but like that, like the example was like, if you gave me a motto that you've used your whole life, what would it be? And the grandma's like, if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted, would you capture it or just let it slip? And then there's an old person in the background going like this. And the kid's like, yes,
That's
and then she
interesting.
starts rapping and she's like, oh, it's like
Like full on like Eminem.
yeah. I thought you were gonna catch it. I thought you were gonna pick it
Sorry, I let it go.
up. You let it slip.
It went like
You didn't seize
it didn't
everything
even,
you
like-
ever wanted.
It didn't even like go over my head. It like slapped me in the face, and I was just dumbfounded. Like I was just so confused. This is what a lack of sleep does.
Yes. Okay, we gotta end this episode. We're like hitting like 2 hours
Holy
here.
shit! Bye.
Thank you for following us. If you did, thank you for hanging out, and we will see you guys next week for a new episode.
Love you. Not like weirdly.
Okay, bye.
Bye.